to 10 out of the southwest.
Copy.
It literally looked like the apocalypse came through here.
They got a water turn that's coming back down this road that we all have to clear the road for. Copy.
When it is coming towards you, it roars like a freight train. The sweat is just burning right off of your face.
Okay, copy that. I'm up here with the 2310 Charlie.
Being a firefighter, you do everything that you can in your ability to get there
Yeah, if I'm at about this, we've had another time at this.
safely, effective, and efficiently. But
All right, 311 go.
sometimes you can't stop the fire.
Definitely need one. We're gonna need a lot of water here. Yeah, copy that.
When the valley fire came through,
We're ready for the water.
we couldn't throw enough resources at it.
Yeah, it's fine. We're gonna go check out some more laterals.
There was loss of property,
Okay, I found a second water tank.
loss of life. And it's just absolutely devastating.
Oh, man. Yeah, copy. We just got the water tank.
You know, trying to understand what is going wrong.
Last week alone, there were 300 new wildfires all across California. And it's really the trend that we've been seeing all summer long already. Drought conditions leading to extreme fire conditions, very similar to what we saw last year, and very fast-moving fires. Caltrans has closed the highway down due to the fire conditions.
When we get in there, you'll see that most of the structures were completely wiped out due to the valley fire.
I've been a firefighter for 10 years now. Been doing this pretty much right out of high school. This is all I've ever done. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, it's always that deal of being a little kid. You're like, oh, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a fireman. And I actually told my dad that. I was like, oh, actually I told him I want to be a fire truck. And so my dad said, well, you better go practice and go put water in your mouth and hold a bunch of water in your mouth, and you have to run around and put fires out.
Literally every single sign where there's an address, there was a home.
Within the last couple of years, we've definitely have seen a huge change. Fires are burning faster, with more intensity. I mean, we lost half the homes in our district. There were so many power lines down, there were so many trees down. They decided that they're gonna have to evacuate Middletown. And then all of a sudden they're gonna have to evacuate Hidden Valley, and just the progression of how the fire was going, it was just unprecedented. You have something that is growing so rapidly, and you can't even get out in front of it to stop it, let alone slow it down. We're going straight to saving life. We don't even have the time to fight the fire. We're going from door to door, driving around on a PA, telling people, evacuate now, evacuate now. That's when it hits you.
this sense of hopelessness, it just tears you up. It takes something else in your own mind just to turn that off, to keep going.
California has always had a fire problem. But in the last 4 decades, fire season's 78 days longer on average. Just within 1 year, we were already ramping up a month early. Starting June 1st in 2015, and then starting May 1st in 2016. In 2016, we've been seeing fires that are burning 15 miles in one afternoon, that are consuming houses minute by minute. Those are not the kinds of fires that we saw decades ago. Mid-July of 2015, we had 16 major fires in California. By that same time in 2016, we'd had 25 major fires. We're seeing more fires, and the fires are becoming larger and more destructive. And the fact that it's happening all year. That's the new norm. So what's changed? As the climate changes, as mean temperatures go up, as vegetation patterns change, it's producing a more fire-prone landscape. Even with a little bit of rainfall and precipitation this last year, really hasn't changed the fire environment in the state. 4 to 5 years of an extreme drought reduces the moisture in the soil, in the plants. So much of our forest land is overstocked or overloaded with dead material and vegetation that's explosive, what we call fuel. It only takes a car pulling off to the side of a road, a spark from a mower or a weed eater, any kind of spark, and it's going to ignite. You put people in that equation, you put 2,000 homes in that path, and you have a disaster. If this is longer term, which is giving us every indication that the changes are going to be long term, how do we adapt? How do we get ahead of the fuel problem?
The health of the land and the health of the people are tied together. And what happens to the land also happens to the people. 2014 was the warmest year on record until, you guessed it, 2015. And now 2016 is on pace to be even hotter. A single wildfire in a dangerously flammable Lake Tahoe basin could cause enough erosion to erase decades of progress when it comes to water quality. And the drought also endangers one of the epicenters of the world's food production in California. That's why we're here, to protect this special, pristine place
California really is leading the way in a number of areas as it relates to wildland fire. Because we don't just focus on putting more resources to try to combat the fire. We also have to look at the other elements of this. The only way we're going to get ahead of these epidemic, catastrophic fires that have been occurring is to engage in active forest management.
We're seeing an ecosystem change before our very eyes at a pace we cannot even anticipate. You'd never believe this, and it's happening, and I see it every single day when I drive up 108 or Highway 4 or one of these mountain things. I see more and more trees dying before my very eyes. This is not going away, so I just don't want anybody to get complacent and say we're dealing with it. There are not enough resources to deal with this problem. I don't think climate change causes the fire. I think it exacerbates the conditions under which fire propagates. 66 million dead trees and growing. And it will grow until we get a stop on it. That's fuel.
Looking at the weather, we have, just record-breaking drought going over 5 years now. And you combine that with a problematic agent, the bark beetle. Now, this is something that is naturally in the environment. The bark beetles are always present, but you combine it with the conditions of the drought, and you allow this little beetle to become basically a swarm.
These things are small. We're talking the size of a grain of rice. A healthy tree will just literally eject the bark beetle as it tries to enter by pushing sap and pitch to that area and just literally shoving it right out of the tree. But these trees, when they're distressed after 4 years of extreme drought, it's thirsty, doesn't have the pitch, can't do it, can't fight back.
Unlike more traditional natural disasters, floods, fires, earthquakes, hurricanes, and tornadoes, what we're experiencing is a slow-moving natural disaster of epic proportions.
I'm not politically correct, so I won't be politically correct. First of all, let me point out Randy's philosophy on climate change. Climate change has taken place over eons. We had ice ages, so we know climate change took place. Okay, so species that existed during those cold periods either adapted in situ or they migrated to a place they could adapt or they perished. So here's the heresy, and it's a rhetorical question because I fight with myself over the answer. Are we doing the right thing when we try and save everything in this world? I'll let you answer that for yourself because I don't have an answer to that.
Is that us?
Dude, you can't hear it over here?
Let's hope that's
Baloney.
not a fire. That is probably a fire.
Responded to the brush fire at the intersection of McClay and Harding. 2 acres, medium to heavy brush. We do have helicopters coming.
We're out of here. Copy.
Once that bell goes off, it's a foot race to get our gear on as fast as we possibly can.
Hey, crew, load up!
Hop in the helicopter, we buckle in. We take care of business. We're badasses up here. We fly in a helicopter. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Black Hawk crew is definitely the most efficient way to establish fire line on the ground. Hands down.
11 for a helipod assignment.
There's no other way to get guys on the top of a mountain in the middle of nowhere without having that Black Hawk.
Go, let's go.
Although we do fly a $15 million piece of equipment, when we hop out to go fight this fire, we're essentially using garden tools. We got a couple chainsaws, a couple McLeods, and a couple Pulaskis. Those are just some of the basic firefighting tools that have been used for 100 years in firefighting, and nothing's changed because they are literally the most efficient tools to use on the fire line.
Anything go bad, we go into the black. We got great black. You got that?
Copy that.
Let's go a little ahead of this line coup and start getting to work.
The ability to get those boots on the ground as soon as possible and stopping that fast rate of spread to save lives and property is the most important part, and that is our job.
Let's go, we good.
Hey! Right here, let's go! Hey! Stay in line and get it. Shoulder to shoulder like a crack. Watch your wind, Jim! Watch the wind!
Watch wind, Jim. Hey, you guys back it off. Hey, back it off, back it off.
Weather and geography is very crucial to a firefighter.
Water coming!
Dealing with the extremely dry brush and the whipping winds, it's scary out there.
Here. Hold it. Hold it here. Let me get this shit on.
Because you never know what can happen.
Hey, we need some help.